Hey everyone. So I've been processing a lot of past traumatic memories and experiences, thoughts, and actions lately. And I have always had a lot of emotional pain and I've struggled with wanting to end my life since about the age of 4. And I remember my parents would ask me why I was so sad. And then they wouldn't understand because I didn't know. I didn't understand. And then they would leave me alone. And I always felt like I had to hide it. I knew my dad hid it. My mom hid it. Or maybe they just didn't experience it. And I was the unique, painful freak. But because they didn't think that pain, or because they didn't express to me in a way that I understood, they thought the pain was important and that it was just to be kind of pushed away and ignored. And as I grew up and I experienced more and more emotional pain and abuse and trauma, I got to a point in my life where I wanted my outside body and the pain on the outside to kind of match the pain I experienced on the inside. And I always bragged that I had a high pain tolerance. Now I realize that comes from trauma and disassociating. And that's not something to brag about. God wants us to be sensitive, not hard. But I didn't realize that at the time. And so I got into a community that I got into a sadistic community. And I let the people in that community abuse my body. And it made me feel good when I saw the bruises. When I saw that what I went through was real. It wasn't imaginary. It wasn't fake. And I remember this one day, I went over to my parents' house and I was wearing a long skirt and I was feeling particularly proud of myself for taking a really hard beating. And I felt like I was getting stronger. Like I was so, my mentality was so twisted. And I showed my mom the bruises on my legs. And my calves, I was purple. Dark purple. Like, there wasn't really skin color left. I remember my mom, she was like, oh, Catherine. And I remember being confused. I was like, why does this matter? Why does this pain, like, why is she why is she acting this way? I was like, she didn't act this way when my insides hurt worse than this. And I remember being so confused why she was showing horror and shock when I felt pride and accomplishment at making it through. I thought that's what we did. And as I've been learning and growing more about true love. Things have just been changing. The Lord has been helping my mind grow. And now I understand why my mom felt that way and responded that way. She didn't understand what was going on inside of me, but she could see physical things and understand the pain that would cause that. And I took pride in pain before, and I've learned we're supposed to suffer, but we're supposed to suffer for Jesus. We're not supposed to suffer for the world, for people, or for the manipulating spirits that are antichrist spirits. They're deceptive. And learning to retrain my brain, letting the Lord teach me the truth, and practicing applying it in real life, choosing my battles with wisdom. He's giving me discernment to know when is an appropriate time to suffer and when is not. And it's a battle, it's a struggle, and it's crazy to look back at where I was and what He's delivered me from, and to see the hope for the future and the light at the end of the tunnel. To see that I am growing, I'm changing, I'm improving, and I'm also able to teach and share. My mom came over last week to help me with some things, and we had a nice conversation, and I remember her telling me she was confused about some of my behaviors, about some of the lies I believed, and I was talking to her and explaining why I believed certain things, and she was just taking it in. I don't know how she felt about it. She didn't really share. I think it was overwhelming for her, but being able to share my experience, the darkness that I was in, and the light I'm now experiencing. I'm safe now. I'm here in this moment with Jesus. I'm not there anymore. I'm not being hurt by sadistic people who just, that's what they were created for. They were created for evil. And I wasn't created for that. And I wasn't created to allow evil to abuse me for no purpose. I was created to suffer for Christ in love, not to put myself in harm's way because of my feelings and because of my hurt and because of my lack of understanding. I'm called to rise above. I'm called to shine a light. And I'm called to learn the truth and to share the truth. The Bible verse I wrote my prayer for this morning was in 1 John 4, 5, and 6. It says, these people belong to the world, so they speak from the world's viewpoint. The world listens to them, but we belong to God. And those who know God listen to us. This is how we know if someone has the spirit of truth or the spirit of deception. And as I have gained more experience, the Lord has been giving me discernment to understand when people are trying to get me to compromise with evil and take parts in acts of wickedness versus respecting me. People are trying to enjoy me, but they're not trying to respect or love me. And because of that, they're hurting me. And I allowed it in the past. And I still allow it sometimes because of my lack of understanding. But every time I do, the Lord convicts me. He leads me to truth. And He teaches me how to apply it so that I don't do that anymore. So that I can keep learning and growing. So I just want to encourage you guys. Don't let yourself be used by the world. Let yourself be used by Jesus. It's not easy. And it's not always enjoyable. But it is always worth it. And it keeps me coming back for more. Because it's the only thing that's given me true purpose and true meaning in my life. Is following Him and following truth. And so as He brings me more complicated situations and more complicated scenarios, it encourages me that I'm growing and I'm not being stagnant, because He's not teaching me the same things over and over. He's showing me new things so that I can learn more about Him and His character. So get into His Word. And ask Him to give you wisdom and discernment to apply it into your everyday life. I love you guys. And I'm sorry to all of you who are hurting and suffering. We'll be home soon. Hold on to the hope. Keep faith. Remain true. I love you, and He loves you more. Have a great day.